You better not duck me, Thun. I'm coming. You better not duck. Devin Haney, Team Devin Haney, calling out Keith, one-time Thurman, after the Regis Prograis fight, of course. That's what I want to talk about in this video. What up, Fight World? It's your boy, Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Some interesting news emerges from Team Haney. Happy holidays if you celebrate them. Happy Thanksgiving. So, Devin Haney's team and his dad, Bill Haney, posted this. He did an interview on the Boxing Voice, and in that he stated this, and then he reposted it to his stories or whatnot, that after the Regis Prograis fight, obviously assuming they get past Regis Prograis, December 9th, they would be open to fight against Keith one-time Thurman, unless they can, of course, get like a bigger fight like Gervonta Davis. But if they can't get like a Tank Davis fight after Regis Prograis, they would be looking at fighting Keith Thurman. Wow. Very interesting stuff. I got a couple different thoughts, which I will now share with you. So, very interesting fight, kind of out of left field. Some people will be like, oh, why would he fight Keith one-time Thurman? And I will say there's a little bit of danger for this upcoming fight, December 9th. Now, I know Devin Haney, he's not the one that's like actually said it, and he's not doing the interview, so he's hard at work training. I get that. But you don't want to underestimate Regis Prograis. And I mean, I hope the Haneys, they're not looking past Devin Haney's next opponent, which is Regis Prograis. Me personally, I think that's a great fight. I think it's a challenging fight for Regis, especially if you look at how he looked in his last performance versus Zorilla. It showed he could be outboxed. I even thought he got dropped in that fight. And I don't even think he won that fight. Definitely wasn't a good performance. For Devin Haney, Regis Prograis keeps saying, I'm going to knock you out. I'm going to knock you out. We've seen you hurt in smaller, lighter divisions. So, in a way, Regis Prograis could be underestimating Devin Haney because all he keeps talking about is really, he's saying this ain't power versus skill. This is skill versus skill. But all of him and his strength and conditioning coach are really talking about is brute force and beating Devin Haney by stoppage and his power, and Devin can't take his power, and who have you knocked out? I got real knockouts. So Regis is doing a lot of talk about power this, power that. But then on the same, on the flip side, being objective, the Haneys could be overlooking Regis Prograis if they're trying to line up his next fight, or just even announcing that they'd be open with the Keith Thurman fight, or based on Regis Prograis' last fight, like I said, versus Zorilla, maybe they're expecting that. In my opinion, I don't think either fighter should, and I hope they're not. I'm just giving you some thoughts, some food for thought. You don't want to anticipate the worst version of your opponent. Like, even though Regis' performance in his last fight with Zorilla, he didn't really look good, you can't expect that he's not going to shore that up and make some adjustments and alterations because he had a bad performance, because we've seen it. I've seen guys where going into a fight, they had been major underdogs because their last performance was super flat, and then they come out with a vengeance. Because you have to understand, like for me, maybe I'm optimistic, I don't know. But when I look at it, I always look at it like this. To say what the future holds for a fighter, you're almost negating the ability for one and one's passion and conviction and determination and hard work to be put in to try to correct some of those mistakes. Meaning, like Regis' performance versus Zorilla, he just didn't look good, received a lot of criticism. So if you just assume he's going to look exactly like that and not have a better camp, then that means like he didn't learn anything from the last fight. And I like to give people the benefit of the doubt that, hey, you had a bad night. It's like, let's say Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant, his rookie season, he shot air balls, but he said he had to do the science of why he shot the air balls. And then he says the shots were on target, but they fell short. Like they didn't have enough velocity or whatever. So Kobe said, I was used to playing less games because I'm going from like high school to NBA. So he said, I needed to work out and I needed to get physically stronger for an 82 game season, and I didn't have the legs, so the shots were not reaching its target. So Kobe Bryant, as an athlete, was able to determine and look at those mistakes and correct them. And then we all know Black Mamba, and we know the legend of Kobe, rest in peace, right? So I give people the benefit of the doubt, like when their back's against the wall, especially boxers. Boxers are insanely tough. When their back is against the wall, you know, there's no telling what they'll do. I've seen, like, look at George Foreman, Michael Moore. Some probably were saying that George Foreman was washed. He was in his mid 40s, and then he was losing the fight. So it looked like, all right, the young dog's going to take out the old veteran and beat him soundly. And then he ends up knocking out Michael Moore. So I know that about boxing, and I know enough to know that you can't count people out, you know? I love when they count me out. Love when they count me out. Now, as far as Devin Haney versus Keith Thurman, the bad thing for Keith Thurman is this. People, I'm not even going to beat around the bush. People think Keith Thurman fell off, or they think he's soft, or they think he's like, when you got a guy who just came from lightweight and he doesn't even have one fight at 140 and he's targeting you, I feel like that is really an indication that people aren't putting that respect on your name the same as when you were the 2 belt holding champion in the welterweight division. Like, for example, you don't see like Teofimo calling out Jaron Boots Ennis. Like, you don't see nobody from lighter divisions calling out Jaron Ennis. I ain't seen it. I mean, if you've seen it, then please let me know who that person is. But Jaron Boots Ennis looks very formidable. He's been pretty active, and nobody's really calling for that from a lighter weight class. A lighter, not a fellow welterweight or something like that. I'm talking about somebody who's from a lighter weight class. So to see the Haneys, and they're pursuing a Keith Thurman fight after the Regis Prograis, they're insanely confident, and they obviously have to like their chances versus the Keith Thurman, because why would they just suggest that out of nowhere if they didn't really like their chances? So Keith Thurman, and I think a lot of it has to do with Keith Thurman, his recent demeanor, and mainly his inactivity. He's been out the ring so long where it's like it's out of sight, out of mind. Keith Thurman got to really get in there, and you know, if he's going to continue his career, because I just keep seeing him get called out. People were talking about Gervonta Davis. Again, these are guys from lighter divisions, Gervonta Davis. And that is a little bit ironic that, you know, the Haneys are looking at Keith Thurman, because that was a name that people said Gervonta was going to fight and should fight and things like that. But the point is, the fact that you got lighter weight class fighters who are being mentioned with your name instead of Keith Thurman versus Jaron Ennis. I mean, some people are talking about that. But I'm just saying, in general, you're getting called out by smaller guys. That's never a good thing in your career, I would surmise. You know what I mean? As far as the fight, listen, I don't like to get too ahead of myself. December 9th, that's all I'm really focused on as a creator, as a content creator. That's a great fight. It's in my backyard, Bay Area. Yee, you dig? Yara. But if they can make the Keith Thurman fight, they can make it. Now, with them also saying Tank or Keith Thurman, that makes me believe that it's possible Devin Haney has a bit of flexibility and is not necessarily in a long-term pack with Eddie Hearn and DAZN. I don't know that for sure, but if they're talking about 2 PBC fighters, I don't know that those fights would happen. Tank or a Keith Thurman fight would happen with Eddie Hearn. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't think his relationship with PBC is necessarily the greatest. So a lot is on December 9th, riding on December 9th. We'll have to see how that plays out. Let me know what you think. Keith Thurman versus Devin Haney definitely would be a good fight. I think a lot of people, it's just bad for Keith Thurman. That's all I can say. It's because Keith Thurman is proven to be a brilliant fighter, but is kind of out of sight, out of mind. Like, he's getting called out by people in lighter weight classes. Like, some people are saying, oh, fight Tank and Tank will beat you. Now Devin Haney, he's getting called out by girls. Clarissa Shields says she want to smoke Keith, smoking on top 5, smoking on that guy. Clarissa Shields keep calling out Keith Thurman, so he got to do something. Terrence Crawford is laughing at Keith Thurman, saying, ah, ha, ha, you'll never get a shot. You look dumb. You should have gave me an opportunity. Now I'll never give you opportunity. It's just, he's just been in a negative news cycle in terms of his peers. And you're always going to be judged by your peers. So I suggest Keith Thurman try to get back on track and, you know, get back active, because people ain't acting right with your name. Like, you're literally being called out by girls, by women. Clarissa Shields saying she'll beat the brakes off of you. So that's even, to me, that's even like worse than being called out by fighters in lighter weight classes. You're getting called out by another gender. Like, a different gender is calling you out, saying they'll beat you. So yeah, he got to get his reputation back in track. And I think a lot of people, you know, they're feeling like they ain't seen him enough, and, you know, maybe they think he's not the same. I don't know. You let me know what you guys think. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Best in the business. Introducing Super Thanks. Right here on the official Boxingego YouTube. Super Thanks allows you, the viewers, to show a little bit of extra gratitude, which enables me as a full-time content creator to push out the content you need in the world of boxing. Underneath all the videos, you will see a heart with the $sign in it. You can enter any amount that you find suitable as a super thanks. A brand new, interactive, and colorful way to get your comments highlighted and noticed by not only myself, but other people on the YouTube platform. Super thanks, a unique and cool way to show and applaud us full-time content creators. Hopefully you guys enjoy the content. Super thanks. The future is now. The Hibernation 5s by Kenichi Bear. Hybrid gaming and lifestyle headphones. Out of the box, you can connect to any console or PC. Bluetooth ready with a low latency USB adapter, color RGB, and extreme bass mode. The Hibernation 5s adjust to you. Whether you need a gaming, travel, gym, or lifestyle headphones, the Hibernations got you covered. The new Hibernation 5s, link in the description. Customize the way you hear the world. Welcome to the nation. Are you tired of your YouTube videos not getting any views? Well, consider TubeBuddy. I've used TubeBuddy for years to scale up my YouTube channel. Now we're sitting over 200,000 subscribers. TubeBuddy is a browser extension that offers a ton of built-in productivity and time-saving services to take your channel to the next level. Use my link in the description to get started with TubeBuddy and level up your channel faster. We working.